Parliament has demanded accountability following explosive revelations by the Special Investigating Unit regarding systematic corruption at Tembisa Hospital. The SIU's final report, which uncovered a sprawling network of alleged fraud, money laundering and grossly inflated contracts, has triggered a fierce demand for immediate action across the political spectrum. Let's talk more about this with Parliament's Health Portfolio Committee Chairperson, Dr. Sibongiseni Dhlomo, who joins us now live on the line. Very good afternoon to you, Dr. Dhlomo. A very explosive investigation coming out of the SIU, and it seems that it's only going to get worse.
Good afternoon, Mary. Good afternoon to all your viewers and listeners. Absolutely, extremely concerning that we could actually talk about unemployed doctors, those who are short of funds. We can talk about not having enough ambulances, shortage of medicines, and yet there are people who go around buying Lamborghinis with the money that was wrongly sent to them in a way that is not deserving. So those things are extremely shocking. In fact, we think this is something that is almost treasonous. It's something that those people died because they could not access services when somebody else is taking so much money and they're actually embezzling them in this way. So we really feel very strong and things actually must be done to these perpetrators.
You're talking about accountability for the perpetrators as well. Who exactly would you say should be taking account here?
When you follow the trend, it's not that these thugs are so intelligent that they put up something that has gone. There has been someone who was colluding with the department, and the people who know the work so well, financially acute people, they decide to deviate from what is normal. But over and above that, when you read a book about Babita, how she was killed, there's an official there who says, no, I can't interfere with this. I can't really explain this to the politicians why. I know it is probably not proper, but please do pay Babita. Absolutely ridiculous. So there are people there who were very clear, who must be charged, who were very clear that they were doing something absolutely wrong, but then they were actually told by someone whom they actually themselves call a political leader to do that, or political leaders. Now you then sit with the people who are actually have this confidence to say nothing is going to happen to me. Let me continue doing this. In any way, these are instructions. Now this was not just a mistake. It was a well-planned, orchestrated program that it will start from here to here. And this is what we see. And if you read, you see that there were people who were very much, able to go and collect documents from this aunt, from this sister, from this, and then get money on the name of other people who have never delivered any project. And the supply chain management is saying there must be 3 tenders put in this way. It's ridiculous to hear that there were people who got a tender to supply this, that, and the other. But those who actually were not successful were also paid for having participated, because it's unheard of. It's unheard of. You have to buy a napkin with a 2 rand, and suddenly this napkin costs 200 rand. And you are buying 1,000 of those napkins. Instead of paying 2,000 rand for everything that you buy, you pay 2 million. Now, there's someone senior in the hospital who must be able to see something is irregular here. That person overlooks those things, and then that thing passes. No, this is actually extremely treasonous. You can't have a group of people, starting from whoever is compiling a document, to really somebody who's actually making the final decision to allow such things to happen in the name of service delivered. And our people are suffering on the ground. People are dying every day. No ambulances, no medication, long queues, and money is being embezzled in this way. Treasonous.
Dr. Dhlomo, you rightfully point out the big problem that lies here with the graft that is quite rampant as well, the rot that is just within that hospital in particular. But you also mentioned Babita Deokaran. Now, she tried to blow the whistle on this with around 850 million rand worth of alleged corruption. We're sitting at 2 billion rand. The Parliament's Health Committee, Portfolio Health Committee, was made aware of this. Province was also made aware of this. The whole country already knew by the time Babita Deokaran was assassinated on the 22nd of August in 2023 that there was something amiss when it comes to the contracting and the suppliers and the supply chain, specifically for this hospital. Since then, as a Portfolio Committee, what efforts have you made to ensure that those who are held responsible are actually held accountable?
You probably be aware, this year again, as a Portfolio Committee, we visited the hospital. We visited the hospital because, for some strange reasons, a particular section of the hospital was burnt down. You know what was burnt down was an area where they are keeping files. Because while these investigations are going on, something must just happen to really hide the information. Now, as a Portfolio Committee, sitting where we are in Cape Town on the parliamentary session, we do interact with the leaders there in the executive, the MECs and the officials. Let's sort this out. You can't have a hospital having a huge expenditure, much more than even Baragwanath Hospital, a hospital so big in the continent, can't spend as much as Tembisa Hospital. Something is amiss here. Falling short of actually doing it ourselves, we expect that those responsible should be held accountable by the executive and by all those who are there, including the HOD, must go around and check. But it was known, it is hidden. Now, you don't know how far, but this thing, we are happy because the Premier himself wanted this investigation to go on. It is actually, from our point of view, even when we went to visit Tembisa, it is telling us that there are people there who are doing such things with impunity, but they seem to have some protection, or they seem to have some authority, instructions. Go do this. Go and give my Mela this support. Nobody's going to question you. It doesn't matter how irregular what you are doing. Go on and do it. Well, that is what some of the people, when Babita reported that there's something irregular here, somebody said to her, please don't worry, I don't want to answer to the politicians, continue with these payments. What type of language is that?
But in ensuring that those who are responsible and are held liable, just going back to my question as well, it doesn't seem anything has been done since Babita Deokaran had actually initially blown that whistle. It seems that the problem has just gotten worse.
Yeah, because this actually report is going to actually help us that the cover-up that might have been there must stop. It must stop. Now we know of individuals who have actually been in this syndicate. And those people must actually be, charged immediately. So the whole chain, including those, I say that that hospital employs people who are financially sound, but they choose not to do the right things. They choose, some of them, not all, they choose to do something wrong, deliberately so, and do something that is not what is in the PSMA. Why should a person be employed because of their competency on financial management and choose to do something deviant, to deviate from that? It's because some instructions have come in to say, you shall not do this, deviate, give this guy who is actually coming in irregular to defraud. Someone senior, the head of the hospital, final decision, let me sign this off too. And you can see that this is fraudulent. Why do you then do that? Well, at least if everybody below you was actually involved in these fraudulent activities, the buck stops with you, stop this thing, don't sign it off, start all over again. But why would that person also say, no, I'm fine, let me sign this off, and I'm siphoning? It's unbelievable. Compare. And why will, you see, they are spending more than what they have within the hospital and buying things that even bigger hospitals are not actually buying. For example, I was sitting there reading that book about Babita. Why would you buy 100 pediatric BP machines? Those things are not disposable. At most, each ward can have 3. But if you have a hospital like Tembisa that probably has got 100 beds, you can't have one child, one BP machine. That's what they did there. You are buying 100 BP machines, pediatric ones, when you have 100 babies. Now, is this you are buying napkins? And those things, why would you allow that as the CEO of the hospital to say, I'm buying these things, deliberately so, I will pay for 100 I don't even know whether those things were delivered, but you actually say, my hospital does not need that. At most, they need 20, not 100 of those BP machines.
Yeah.
Probably the BP machine costs 75 rand. They are happy to pay 2,000 rand for each of those machines.
Yeah,
no.
Dr. Dhlomo, shocking indeed. But before I let you go as well, the cynic approach and also one to be cautious is to think that if it's happening at Tembisa Hospital with such impunity, what's stopping it from happening at other hospitals too? Are you calling for a widespread investigation into perhaps all government hospitals, or some or all in Gauteng at the very least?
Absolutely. And I think we concur with the Prima to say let's actually do a wider network of investigation, because it may as well be that what we saw and happening in Tembisa Hospital is also found elsewhere within the province, but probably within the country. But all I'm saying that there are people in the country who have been employed because of their good quality of education and their qualification, but they choose. It's people who know the right things to do, and they choose not to. So I would actually welcome and support the call by the Premier to say let's have a wider net of investigations into such things that might probably be happening elsewhere in the country or in the province.
Dr. Dhlomo, thank you so much for joining us this afternoon. That is Parliament's Health Portfolio Committee Chairperson, Dr. Sibongiseni Dhlomo.